you're gonna see some serious shit.
Werewolves, also known as lycanthropes, have been a prominent figure in human mythology and folklore for centuries.
How about the werewolf? Are werewolves real? Now, this might, bake your noodle a little, but yes, they are real. Though the underdog, pardon the pun, in the monster hierarchy, there is actually more evidence for werewolves existing exactly as they are seen in Hollywood movies.
Got money, I'll do anything for you. Got money, just tell me what you want me to. Got money, nail me up against the wall. Got money, don't want everything, he wants it all. Head like a hole, black as your soul. I'd rather die than give you control.
These creatures are said to be humans who can transform into wolves or wolf-like beings during full moons or other specific circumstances. The origin of the werewolf legend varies between cultures and time periods, but one thing is certain: the idea of a human being turning into a werewolf has persisted throughout history. The earliest known reference to werewolves comes from ancient Greece, where the myth of Lycaon tells of a man who was transformed into a wolf as punishment for serving human flesh to the god Zeus. The word lycanthrope itself comes from the Greek words lykos, meaning wolf, and anthropos, meaning man.
A theriomorph is a broader term. Therios is the Greek word for beast. Like if you were to read in the book of Revelations, in the Greek, it would be to megatherion, the great beast. And morph, of course, we all know that means to change. So a theriomorph is someone who can change into a beast of whatever sort, because it ain't just werewolves. It can be, whatever. But werewolves are the most popular because of the savage intellectual cunning of the species Canis lupus. I don't know if any of you have any kind of intimate knowledge of wolves, but they're amazing creatures. They are amazing creatures. They're extremely smart, extremely powerful. And their nose, believe it or not, a typical wolf's nose is 100 times better than the best bloodhound. They could find one person in the city of New York, just like that.
The ancient Greeks believed that werewolves were created by the gods as a form of punishment, and that they were cursed to live out the rest of their lives as half-human, half-wolf creatures.
Some of you may have heard of Petronius. He was a Greek author, contemporary of St. Paul's, and basically he talked about werewolves in his novel, the Satyricon. And he is the first guy to associate them with the full moon.
In medieval Europe, the belief in werewolves was widespread, and many people feared that they could be attacked by these creatures. The idea of a human transforming into a wolf was often associated with witchcraft, and those accused of being werewolves were often persecuted along with witches. The famous German writer Johann Wolfgang von Goethe wrote about werewolves in his novel Faust, stating, "Werewolf, vampire, phantom, and demon, no heart is safe from thee."
I mean, that's pure satanic power. So don't immediately discount this stuff, especially when it's in the Bible. You go to Daniel chapter 4. Some of you already know what I'm talking about.
Wherefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness, and thine iniquities by showing mercy to the poor, if it may be a lengthening of thy tranquility. All this came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. The king spake and said, Is this not great Babylon, that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power, and for the honor of my majesty? While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying,
O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee, and they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will.
In Daniel chapter 4, verses 14 through 16, it's talking about a watcher and a holy one. It says, he cried aloud, and this is about in Nebuchadnezzar, and he said thus, hew down the tree, cut off his branches, shake off his leaves, and scatter his fruit. Let the beasts get away from it, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave a stump in the roots, in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, and the tendril grass of the field. Let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion, meaning the king, be with the beasts of the grass of the earth. Let his heart be changed from a man's, and let a beast's heart be given to him. And let 7 times pass over him. Now later on, the king does not repent. That was a dream that Daniel interpreted for him. So he doesn't, his heart is still lifted up, and he is glorifying and boasting. And so in verse 33 of the same passage, it says, the same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar. He was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen, and his belly was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like bird claws. Now, what the heck is that? I'm not saying it's necessarily a werewolf, but it is definite. It says that he was given the heart of a beast.
One of the most famous cases of werewolf hysteria occurred in France in the 16th century. In the town of Gavaudan, a series of brutal attacks on humans and livestock were attributed to a werewolf or a pack of werewolves. The panic spread throughout the region, and many people believed that the werewolf was actually a human witch who had made a pact with the devil. The Duke of Gavaudan even offered a reward for the capture of the creature, which eventually led to the killing of a large wolf that was believed to be the culprit. The wolf was stuffed and displayed in a museum in Paris as a testament to the legend of the Gavaudan beast. In Eastern Europe, the belief in werewolves was also prevalent. In Romania, for example, the term strigoi refers to a type of vampire or werewolf that is said to be able to transform into animals such as wolves, bats, or owls. The idea of a human transforming into a wolf was also present in Germanic folklore, where it was believed that certain individuals could shapeshift into wolves by wearing a wolf skin or belt. Do we see the similarities? During the witch hunts of the 16th and 17th centuries, the belief in werewolf was often used as a way to demonize women who were accused of witchcraft. In many cases, women who were accused of being witches were also accused of being werewolves, and were believed to have the ability to transform into wolves and other animals in order to carry out their evil deeds. This association between women and werewolves continued into the 19th century, when the famous novel Dracula was published.
This goes way back to the dawn of human history. You can, in fact, go into caves in Europe and other places, and you'll find drawings that go back to before the bud of time of men with wolf's heads, men with antlers, men with various other animal appurtenances. And some of this is rooted in the idea of shamanism. I don't know if you've heard of the word shaman. It's very trendy right now if you're into the New Age movement. But shamans are what we used to call witch doctors. And I'm sure you've all seen movies of like Native Americans, and they're wearing like buffalo heads, or like, I know when I lived in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest, you would see Native American dances, and they'd wear like a raven head, or even a head that represented a killer whale, or something like that. Well, there's this idea that by wearing these things, you assume the character and the power and the nobility of the animal.
In the novel, the character of Lucy Westenra is bitten by a werewolf and becomes a vampire, linking the two creatures together in popular culture. In modern times, the idea of the werewolf has continued to capture the public imagination. Werewolves have been featured in countless movies, television shows, and books, and have become a staple in popular culture. The werewolf has been portrayed as both a hero and a villain, and has been used as a metaphor for everything from puberty to addiction. In conclusion, the history of werewolves is a fascinating and complex one. From ancient Greece to modern times, the idea of a human transforming into a wolf has persisted throughout history and has been interpreted in many different ways. Whether seen as a symbol of punishment, a manifestation of witchcraft, or a creature of myth, the werewolf has captured the human imagination and will continue to do so for generations to come. The thing about it is, though, what was left untouched is the odd similarities between most Native American tribes, though they may have a different name for this being, the shapeshifter, that shows up in their oral traditions. One cannot set aside the eerie similarities between the werewolf and the skinwalker. Some of the origins of the werewolves state that the person looking to transform into this werewolf creature must do some heinous act, like murder his neighbor or someone he's intimately familiar with, as part of the transformation process. Funny that in a lot of tales of the skinwalker, the bad medicine man or the shaman must murder someone he sincerely loves before killing the animal and wearing the pelt in which he wants to transform. Join us next time when we'll look at some of these tales and the history of the skinwalker.
I am Ripper, Tearer, Slasher, Gouger. I am the teeth in the darkness, the talons in the night. Mine is strength and lust and power. I am Werewolf!
And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
Good day to you all. This is Morgan Freeman. Dee Doss and the BDRP is the best, hands down, in the world.